Hey folks, this is Matt once again, and welcome back to another review. This is special thanks to MegaPorkchopexpress who sent this to me. It's a wonderful gift. I know he asked me I think a few days ago if I had finished watching this, and finally did, and that is Video Nasties, the definitive guide. Great cover art. You have the back and the side. Video Nasties, the definitive guide. This is from overseas, and I gotta say, this was wonderful to watch. Very fascinating, very fun. Actually took me a few days to get through all this stuff. Now, what this is Video Nasties. For those wondering, it's a 3-disc set, and disc 1 is a documentary, about an hour and 11 minutes. It's called Video Nasties, Moral Panic, Censorship, and Videotape. About how back in, especially around the 70s and early 80s and such like that, there's a lot of these videotapes. There's these movies that were VHS. At the beginning of it, it talks about how VHS was becoming a big thing. VHS was becoming popular. VHS beat Betamax, so on and so forth. And you have a few people interviewed who talk about their first VHS tapes and these horror films that they get, and then these horror films that would come out, and they have these exotic might not be the right word, but they have this sort of crazy artwork that really was the only way they could advertise. Because on these rental shelves on the video store, I don't think they could really advertise much on TV or anything. So it had to have, they try to make the most explicit, like Driller Killer. You had a guy screaming, you had a drill going to his head. Or you had Nightmare Maker, you had I Spit on Your Grave, you had Last House on the Left. Cannibal Holocaust was definitely a big one. Cannibal Ferox, Cannibal Apocalypse. Even films later on like Visiting Hours and Pranks and things like that. And so on and so forth. And pretty much how, kids would go, oh, I wonder what that is. Oh, it's not something we're supposed to watch. And kids would have parties and be like a dare. Oh, can we watch this? Should we watch that? Be all these dares and stuff like that. Well, pretty much the government was getting involved, and you had this woman called, I think, Whitehouse, very old woman. And of course, it's one of those classic things where, they would ask her, have you seen one of these? No, I don't need to see them. But how can you judge them without seeing it? I've done the same thing, so. But there's a difference. I don't have the power to come down on a film and make it so that it fucks up someone else's life. This is little old me. This is someone of power that has the power to make choices, and they know that actually affects other people. And she's like, oh, yeah, trust me, I know that what's going to be in here is bad. And just the crazy stuff that would happen, where it just would escalate and escalate and escalate. And almost to a point where, as I'm watching, I'm kind of getting angry, which is weird because I live in the U.S. This was happening over there in the U.K. And, of course, probably decades ago. But even then, I'm like getting pissed at what's going on with the censorship, and it got to a point where it would be, they would have Scotland Yard and the cops, they come up with this list where it was Section 1, Section 2, Section 3, and like Section 1 and 2 were 72 films ultimately that, if a video store owner sold or rented out, they could be fined or they could be arrested. At time, there was a video distributor that got arrested and sent to jail. And you have people, going, wait a minute, there's censorship, what's going on here, what's this, what's that, and just how Parliament and stuff like that was just doing this crazy shit. For instance, they had like a news article that said 40% of 6-year-olds have seen a video nasty and they're corrupt in the minds. And they're like, that's ridiculous. And you find out it was ridiculous because they would just ask like a couple kids. Like for instance, if they asked say 35, 37 kids, and if they get 3 kids, then they would do some stupid math and say blah 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 blah, and ultimately come up with 40%. And in fact, later on, they had other people who was like, wait a minute, there's something fishy. They wrote down a list, right? They put actual movies, and then they put fake movies. Movies that don't exist. And you would have kids pointing to a movie, say, yeah, I saw that. Oh, what was it? Yeah, well, it was bloody. And, yeah. And it was a movie that never existed. So these kids were pointing at stuff and saying that didn't even exist. They didn't even fucking do anything. I'm like, yeah, kids are gonna make shit up because, hey, wow, I'm one of the cool kids at school, yay! Or say, hey, I'm just gonna make something up so I get attention, yay! Or, oh, I'm stupid, yay! It's amazing, fucking amazing. Or like there was a apparent research being done, but there was like a guy who actually broke in and stole records and fired some people, and pretty much fraud was being done, fraud, and nothing ever happened to them. You had this asshole who they interviewed him, and he's fucking proud of what he did, and he's just, oh yeah, laughing it off. And I didn't care for this guy, Bright or Blight or Bright, whatever the fuck his name is. Fat ass with glasses. I know that's mean to say, but I know that's mean to say, I know, but I'm gonna call it fat ass with glasses. Fatter than me. It is the bullshit. Like he said back in the day, there's an interview back in the day, I swear the shit, he said that they're doing research, and the research isn't done yet, but I know that it will be positive that it's affecting kids. So again, it's like, well, wait a minute, the research isn't done, but you already came to the conclusion that yes, it is, even though research isn't done. So if that's the case, why the fuck are you doing it? But that's not the main thing that really bugged me. Not only kids, it affected dogs. And you see him actually say this in archival footage. This fucking dumbass going, yeah, even though our research isn't done, we know that it's affecting kids, and it's affecting dogs too. Dogs? This is the shit you had for people in the UK. This is the bullshit you had to deal with? Damn, I'm glad I'm in America, because we deal with bullshit too, but that's just beyond stupid. I feel sorry for anyone in the UK who had to deal with that shit back in the day. For fucking idiots like that. Yeah, it affects dogs. What, not cats? You an animalist? You don't like the bitch, you like the pussy? So you like the pussy go, but you like the bitch stay? He did. About how, police, they could just come in, take thousands of videotapes and burn them. Just fucking burn them in an incinerator. And people would be prosecuted, and that there were times where they didn't even know what the fuck they were doing. They would make mistakes, like for example, at one point they took Apocalypse Now because they thought that was a video nasty. So, oh no, okay, the best little whorehouse in Texas with Burt Reynolds and Dolly Parton. They went after that, and once they found out, oh whoops, it's a Burt Reynolds Dolly Parton movie. Whoops. That's what I'm talking about. There's a film called The Big Red One. It's a war film. I know it has a Mark Hamill believes in it. They thought Big Red One was meant a porno reference. That's weird. My dick ain't red. Is your dick red? Are you a fucking dog? Or what fucking animal has a red dick? I don't know. The only reason I know that is because I watched Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, which they had that fucking scene with Scooby-Doo in it. So that's the only reason that popped in my head. No pun intended. Popping. It just really just goes to show you what the fuck. And then like there was something they were saying that something about the act, someone didn't sign something, so it was never really verified in a way the whole time. And they didn't find out till like years and years later, and man, it just really interesting documentary though, and it was an hour and 10 minutes. Really enjoyed it. I probably go on and on about it, but it's very fascinating. I don't want this going an hour-long review though, but I really enjoy the documentary, and that was disc 1. It's an hour and 10 minutes, but also that's not all it has. On disc 1, it also has, which I thought was pretty cool, because I'm a sucker for these, 50 minutes of pre-cert video company idents nostalgia. That's pretty much, you know what, before your videotape or DVD or when a movie pops up or whatever, you had like 20th Century Fox, or you had the Paramount with the mountains, or you had the New Line Cinema with the film thing coming in. I did a shitty job with it. Or you had like logos, that type of thing. Well, this is 50 minutes of it, which is pretty cool because I'm a sucker for those. I know it's weird, I'm a sucker. You also had an image gallery featuring artwork from the 80 titles included on the DPP's Section 3 list. Those are the ones that were not banned, but those were the maybe. And the one thing I'll say that I'm kind of disappointed in is they didn't put trailers to those 80 movies, which I know is a lot. It means 80 trailers, but I'm greedy. But I would love to have seen 80 trailers to those. Because some of them, like, you see pretty much the VHS cover arts, and some of them look kind of interesting. I'm going to have to watch this again and write them down, like, look up trailers and stuff for them. But it looked a little bit interesting. And that's on disc 1. And then disc 2 and 3 I really thought was cool they did this. Disc 2, original trailers plus newly filmed introductions to the 39 Nasties that were successfully prosecuted in UK courts and deemed liable to deprave and corrupt. Now I know you said, well, I thought you said 72. I'll get to that when it's disc 3. Now, these 39... Again, the Nasties that were successfully prosecuted in UK courts and deemed liable to deprave and corrupt. What they do is actually, it's about, this says 5 hours, which I don't understand. Like, I don't understand why the first disc says over 3 hours. Because the documentary is an hour and 10 minutes. The documentary is an hour and 10 minutes. The pre-cert video company is 50 minutes. Hour 10 and 50, that's 2 hours. And then the image gallery is only 8 minutes. So it's 2 hours and 8 minutes. And there's a couple Easter eggs, but they're like 30 seconds or a minute each. There's like 4 of them. So 5 minutes tops. That's not over 3 hours. So this over 3 hours is bullshit. The first disc is not over 3 hours. Again, the documentary is an hour and 10 minutes. And 1 hour, 10 minutes. The 50 minutes of pre-cert video company logos. 1 hour and 10 minutes plus 50 minutes is 2 hours. Because 50 plus 10 is 60. 60 equals an hour. Hour is 2 hours. And then the image gallery is 8 minutes long. 2 hours and 8 minutes. And then even with the let's say 2 hours and 15 minutes. Just a little buck wild. 2 hours and 15 minutes is not over 3 hours. So they misprinted that. Same with here. This 2 is not over 5 hours. It's quite a lot, though. It's about... It's a little over 4 hours. Like, I don't know why they just didn't put over 4 hours. Because the 39 trailers, they list 39 trailers, but each trailer has an introduction from someone in which they talk about the film. They talk about either maybe the history of the film, what the film's about, any info about who worked on the film, or any stories from the film, why it got on the video Nasties list. I thought that was really cool that every trailer of those 72, disc 2 talking about the first 39, or the 39 that was I talked about, each one had an introduction. And again, they gave info about it. I thought that was very cool. I thought that was very interesting. Why don't they do that for slasher films of the 80s? You know, you have all these fucking slasher documentaries like Going to Pieces. Why don't they have one where they take the trailers of the 80s slasher films and do that? Like, here's slasher films to the 80s, and you have an introduction. And you talk about the film, or you know, whether it be Terror Train, Prom Night. You do even do sequels. Now, this is 3 disc. You do 3 disc of that. I guess really I could do that. Just talk on camera, give a little bit of info on the film, then have a trailer. Then talk a little bit of the film, then have a trailer. Of course, copyright would probably kick my ass on that. But that's what I would do. Hell, I'd do that. But what do I know? But I like that idea. They did it for disc 2. I thought that was really cool. And then you actually have an image gallery, which you get to look at all 39 VHS covers. And then disc 3 is the same thing where you have 33, because 39 and 33, that's 72. Original trailers plus newly filmed introductions to 33 Nasties that were initially banned, but then subsequently acquitted and removed from the DPP's list. So disc 2 is the 39 that were successfully prosecuted, and I didn't really get this part. If that means they're still to be prosecuted, or maybe not. I don't know, but I guess that means the 39 that they were never taken off, they were never removed, they were always kept on the list. And then disc 3 are the ones that were initially banned, but then after a bit they removed it. Probably because when they actually saw the film, because a lot of these films are actually not much to them. I haven't seen some of these. I haven't seen The Dorm That Dripped Blood. I haven't seen Night School. I haven't seen Pranks. But from what I understand, there's really not much in them. Even Visiting Hours. Visiting Hours, I saw that once. I thought, yeah. I saw it a second time. I did not care for it. So who knows? Maybe if I do a slasher film month, I'll watch it for a third time and finally decide. But that one, disc 3 is about over 3 hours. It's not over 4 hours like it says. It's over 3 hours. Because that's 3 hours and 10, 20 minutes. About 3 hours and 20 minutes. Then the image gallery, which has the VHS artwork. So over 3 hours. It's not 4 hours. So it's not over 13 hours. I don't know how the fuck they get this time. I don't know what they're looking at. I don't know if it's overseas, the time just runs differently or something like that. Maybe it is. But that seems like a pretty big, I don't know. 2, 6. I would say more, this is 9 hours than 13 hours, but again, maybe it's how US, UK, time thing with the DVDs. I don't know. Being the greedy part of me, again, I would love to have seen these 80 titles, trailers on the Section 3 list. So I guess, a disc 4 with those trailers. You don't even have to do intros, although that would have been cool too, but you probably need, and that's 80, you probably have to do a disc 4 and disc 5, and they don't have 5 discs. I'm greedy. Seriously, this is a really good DVD. If at all you can get this overseas, I don't know if eBay or Amazon or which one is the best way, but if you just somehow get this and you're a fan of film, you're a fan of film history, you're a fan of horror films, if this at all interests you, I definitely suggest you check this out. And I can't thank enough MegaPorkchopexpress for saying this to me. It was a great thing to watch. I love these kind of things. I love these kind of documentaries. Like I had to go into pieces, and I think this is better. Like I would say, this DVD set is better than going to pieces. I mean, going to pieces I like, but you know, there's certain issues I have with that. But it's definitely a little better than Boogeyman. Boogeyman is pretty much a shitty clip show. And the only thing worth the shit is that Robert Englund did a commentary track on the clip show. That's the only thing, really. And he got a couple trailers. But this is really good. I love these kind of things. I love these kind of, whether documentaries or how you want to call them, I love this kind of stuff. I know there's other stuff out there. Like there's I think a documentary on Hammer films called Flesh and Blood. Flesh and Blood Hammer film legacy. Granted, I haven't seen Hammer films, but I'm very interested in history of horror films or history of whatever, you know, movies, documentaries. So even if I haven't seen the film, a lot of times I'm interested. I mean, for example, I have a best worst movie. Troll 2 is a funny movie, but the documentary best worst movie is a fun one. Going to pieces. His Name Was Jason, Halloween 25 Years of Terror, Never Sleep Again. I have those. I actually reviewed those. Never Sleep Again, His Name Was Jason, Halloween 25 Years of Terror. Those are still up on the channel. I reviewed those. Crystal Lake Memories, I look forward to. I know they changed the release date to September, but I look forward to that. I really like this kind of stuff. I'm really fascinated. I mean, I'm a type of guy that I could sit down and just watch movie trailers. And the fact that you have a good documentary and you have people actually talking about it before the trailer and info, and very cool stuff. So I really enjoyed this. This is really cool. Video Nasties, the definitive guide. It's a worthy title to put on it. Very interesting history that, because obviously I didn't grow up in the UK, I never knew. I mean, I had heard about Video Nasties, but I didn't know too much about it. I mean, the most I knew about was, I heard a little bit that people went sent to jail to it. And on the Book of the Dead, for the first Evil Dead, there's an interview with one of the guys at Palace Video, I believe, and they actually mentioned that on the documentary, that they're one of the only guys that actually fought against, you know, it's like, no, Evil Dead should not be on there, and they actually, won. I remember that's on my Evil Dead, Book of the Dead for the first one. But yeah, I can't praise this enough. Video Nasties, the definitive guide to avoid moral panic. Keep repeating. They're only movies. Only movies. Only movies. And of course, you know, if people are like, well, what are the 72 movies? I can't think of all 72 of them off the top of my head. But like I said, I know Cannibal Holocaust, Cannibal Furore, Cannibal Apocalypse. There was Visiting Hours, Pranks, Night School, Nightmare on the Damaged Brain. There was Last House on the Left, The Fun House. There was Eaten Alive. Really enough, Texas Chainsaw Massacre never got on it. Yeah, I think it got on the Section 3, but it never actually got the Video Nasties. Which, to be honest, a lot of these movies should, because there's really nothing much to them. But they even said that most of the time they got on the list because of the cover art. That it wasn't even just for the movies themselves. A lot of times they just looked at the cover art and they just deemed it from that. Because if you actually watch the film, there's not much to some of them. So, I mean, stuff like Cannibal Holocaust and I Spit on Your Grave, you can... I don't support... I mean, yeah, I was bitching about a Serbian film, but it's because I think it's a shitty film. And I've seen the film. I think it's a shitty movie. But... what do I know? Anyway, I don't know what more I can say. You know, the 72 films I'm sure you can look up, but... Very, very wonderful gift. So thank you, MegaPorkchopexpress, and thank you guys for watching out there, and we will see you later.